Live from the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX5 News.
Breaking overnight on KPIX5 and streaming on CBSN, Bay Area Johnson & Johnson out with new numbers on its 2-dose shot and breaks down the figures from the live news desk.
And it's a dream come true how today's Dreamforce conference could help struggling Bay Area businesses and the tourism industry. We're live.
One Bay Area county leading the rest. Find out which county is nearing 100% vaccinated for its eligible population.
World leaders descending on New York City this morning for the first time in-person United Nations meeting since the pandemic. How President Biden is hoping to reset today.
Then later, state and local leaders lay out their plan to stop an uptick in hate crimes. Good morning to you. It's Tuesday, September 21st. I'm Lynn Keys.
I'm Gianna Franco, and this morning we begin with a Spare the Air alert now in effect. And this is a live look at San Ramon, courtesy of our photojournalist Brian Kiley. A combination of high temperatures, wildfire smoke, and car exhaust could bring hazy skies across the Bay Area today. So let's get more information on that and get your forecast. Here's Mary.
Good morning to you. Yeah, tracking the strong ridge of high pressure. It's the reason why we're going to heat up for today. And that ridge of high pressure acting like a lid, trapping the pollutants at the surface. So we have ozone pollution, smog, and also with southerly winds that change in wind direction, pushing some wildfire smoke into our region. So that's Spare the Air alert in effect today. I will say this right now, good air quality all across the region. As we head through the afternoon, unhealthy air for sensitive groups for the East Bay and for the South Bay, moderate air quality for the rest of the Bay Area. And with that strong ridge of high pressure, temperatures will be on the rise. Heating up for sure. We're talking 94 in San Jose, 97 in Concord, 90 for Vallejo. Daytime highs around the Bay, mid to upper 80s to about 90 degrees, low 90s for the peninsula, and even warming up along the coast. Let's check in with Gianna for a look at traffic and that busy morning commute.
It is busy, especially in the South Bay this morning. We've had a handful of crashes and a brand new one just reported northbound at 101 near Alum Rock Avenue. Lanes are blocked in this crash and speeds dipping down about 6 miles per hour. So if you're commuting out of San Jose on 101, expect a lot of brake lights through there. Also, if you're trying to take northbound 880 near Montague Expressway, heads up, a 4-car crash there. Overturned vehicle involved in this accident, and unfortunately major injuries reported. So a lot of activity happening on scene there. 3 left lanes are blocked until further notice. So try to stick with possibly 680 or maybe even 280 as an alternate. We'll check the Bay Bridge coming up in my next report.
I'm Al Makovic at the Live News Desk, and some good news for people who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The company just came out with a new study saying that a booster shot, a second dose, is 94% effective in preventing asymptomatic infection. So that would put it on par with Moderna or Pfizer's vaccines. Of course, again, we're talking a 2-dose regimen here, and it depends on when you get that second shot. People given a booster J&J shot 6 months or longer after that first dose had a 12-fold increase in antibodies compared to a 4-fold increase for people who get that second dose at 2 months. So bottom line, the protection should be stronger if people get boosters later, but of course the FDA has not yet approved those boosters for most people. So we're going to keep our eye on all of it. Back to you, Len.
All right, Ann, thank you. California has the lowest COVID case rate in the entire country right now. The test positivity rate here is down to 3% now. And more than 82% of those eligible to be vaccinated have gotten at least 1 dose. Locally, Marin County is reporting that 90.7% of its eligible residents are now fully vaccinated, and nearly 100% of people 12 and up have now received at least 1 dose. That number could soon go up with Pfizer's news about getting vaccines to children as young as 5. People 12 and up get 3 milliliters per shot. 5 to 11-year-olds would get a third of that. Now, this is pending emergency use authorization by the FDA, which could come as early as Halloween. As for kids under 5, Pfizer has already enrolled them in a trial.
They absolutely say that data will come out in this calendar year, meaning before the end of 2021, and it's 6 months to 5 years.
Pfizer says the dosing for younger children will be even smaller, just 3 micrograms.
To the South Bay, where a veteran San Jose cop has now announced his resignation. This as the September 30th deadline nears for all city employees to be fully vaccinated. Sergeant David Gutierrez spent more than a quarter century rising through the ranks at SJPD. He retired in December of 2019, but returned as reserve officer for the department. He says the city's Get Tough vaccine policy doesn't respect people's individual rights and health care choices.
I'm not anti-vaccine. I don't tell people you shouldn't get it. But when it comes to my body, it's what my choice is about what I want to put on my body.
The Police Officers Association estimates there are roughly 150 officers who are either currently unvaccinated or have not disclosed their vaccine status to the city.
Happening today, one of the biggest tech conferences in the world is back in the Bay Area.
Yeah, Dreamforce, which typically brings in close to 200,000 people, this year it's scaled back down because of COVID. KPIX 5's Justin Andrews is live at Moscone Center this morning. And Justin, it kicks off today and could boost business in San Francisco.
Yeah, for many people, they're hoping this conference not only brings hope to businesses, but also to workers, because for many of them, this will be their first conference since COVID-19 hit. We know there are bars, restaurants. It's a really busy area here. And that means Tabletop Tap House and also Joyride Pizza. They are ready for more foot traffic because that means more funds will be flowing in. Some workers are coming out of unemployment and working for the first time. Dreamforce has only 1,000 invite-only attendees this year who must show proof of vaccination. This year, the conference will be entirely outdoors, and this is the second convention at the Moscone Center since the pandemic began. Foo Fighters will be performing live at the opening celebration this evening, and some speakers include actors Will Smith and also Jane Fonda.
We're so excited to bring people into San Francisco and to see San Francisco come to life. It's a beautiful summer day, and we have everybody coming down to patronize local businesses. We're employing local workers.
And for the first time, this conference will be accessible to everyone. It's free online on the streaming service Salesforce Plus. We're live in San Francisco this morning. I'm Justin Andrews, KPIX 5.
So can I sneak in to see Foo Fighters?
I was about to say, you're going to get on that thing and watch some Foo Fighters.
You might have to do some recon for me, Justin.
I say you can, G. I got you.
We'll see how that goes. Thanks,
Justin says yes.
Yes.
Well, live look now from New York City, where President Biden is set to address the week-long meeting of the UN General Assembly within the hour. He's expected to continue to push for a reset with world leaders following 4 years of the Trump administration's America First policies. CBS's Bradley Blackburn is outside UN headquarters in New York with a preview.
President Biden is in New York to address the UN General Assembly for the first time since taking office. The president arrived in the city last night. He then headed to a meeting with Secretary General Antonio Guterres, during which Mr. Biden affirmed his support for the UN.
The vision of the United Nations has never been short in ambition, any more than our Constitution. But the ambition matters.
Aides say President Biden's speech this morning will focus on the idea that the world is turning a page after 2 decades of war.
He will also reaffirm that the United States is not turning inward, including as we look to the decision the United States made, the president made, to bring our troops home from Afghanistan.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki acknowledged yesterday that relations with allies like France have recently been strained.
Reestablishing alliances doesn't mean that you won't have disagreements. What you'll hear the president talk about tomorrow is that we are committed to those alliances, and that always requires work from every president, from every global leader.
This will be the first in-person General Assembly in 2 years. Because of the pandemic, last year's event was mostly virtual, but this year 2/3 of the 193 member states are sending delegates here to UN headquarters. Coronavirus concerns are why President Biden will spend only a few hours at the UN. Tomorrow, Mr. Biden will convene a virtual COVID-19 summit. Its goal to reach a consensus about how to vaccinate at least 70% of the world's population. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Well, President Biden is now expected between 6:45 and 7 this morning, or maybe later. Whenever it happens, we'll bring that to you with a special report with those remarks.
It is 6:08, taking a live look at Oakland, where today State Attorney General Rob Bonta will lead a roundtable with local leaders to discuss hate crimes in California. Last year, California saw a 31% spike in reported hate crimes. Criminal acts motivated by racial bias drove much of that rise, increasing by 67%. The Attorney General is holding a series of discussions aimed at developing strategies to tackle bias and hate.